Andrew Callahan ruined his career, and because of his massive influence and disruption of mainstream media to a certain degree, the massive range and explicit details of these accusations is undeniable. As he has created a massively successful platform for himself, big creators and celebrities have all found themselves just as surprised as we are about these allegations. On January 5th, a TikTok user named Cornbread Asserall, also known as Caroline, posted a video on her TikTok alleging that Andrew had coerced her into having sex with him.
I never in a million years thought that I would be making this video, and I'm shaking because I've tried a couple different times and haven't been able to get my point across, but I don't like seeing abusers get platforms. And my abuser, Andrew Callahan, also known as All Gas No Breaks, Channel 5, and whatever his new HBO show's called, I forget, has been plastered all over my news feed, and I've tried to come to him person to person and try to get him to take accountability for what he did, but his version of what happened the night that he assaulted me is so skewed. So I will tell you that he did eventually get consent. And that's the main point, is that he eventually got consent because he wore me down. He told me he needed a place to stay for the night. He had some sort of falling out with one of his crew members or whatever, and I was very clear about the fact that we are not hooking up. He gets in my bed and wears me down to the point where I eventually do agree to do things that I wasn't proud of. And I wasn't proud of them and thought it was my fault for so long that I continued to be nice to him after the situation. He wouldn't leave my house the next morning. And then as time went on and I processed things, I thought, you know what, just because eventually I said, okay, whatever, because I was trying to just get the whole night over with so that it could be morning so that he could leave, it doesn't discount the fact that I told him no. I told him no so many times prior to this. I said, I'm tired, I'm not really feeling it. I came up with any excuse that I possibly could to just get him off of me. And he still found a way to coerce me into things that I didn't want to do. And this is really hard for me to say. I never thought I would come forward, but it's even more hard to have to relive the trauma that I endured every single day by seeing this man as a social justice warrior, as someone who cares about human rights, get a platform. You shouldn't be supporting him. And at the end of the day, like, I've told close friends of mine, I've tried coming out about this before, and he texted me saying that it basically ruined his life and that his life was over now because of things that I said, and other women have come forward to me, but this is my first time publicly talking about it on a platform like TikTok because I hope it gets traction. I hope people listen to me. I hope that if something similar has happened to you, that you know that that's not your fault. It wasn't my fault what happened to me, just because I eventually caved. This is so hard to do, but I eventually, I was really hoping that he would eventually take accountability, but he just texted me this skewed version of what he thought had happened, and in that moment, it wasn't fight or flight, it was freeze. I froze, and I couldn't control my body anymore. Not to mention, he got me really drunk that night. He was trying to buy me all kinds of the best kinds of tequila at the dive bar we were at, and a lot of people don't believe me. I've got receipts, I've got photos of us, I've got text messages, but you shouldn't need that. You should believe me, and you should stop supporting Andrew Callahan. Take away his platform. He doesn't deserve it.
After receiving doubts online after coming forward, she would later post more TikToks showing DMs and pictures of her and Andrew together.
In regards to the whole Andrew Callahan situation, this is the last time that I'm going to be talking about it. A friend of mine texted and asked if I was okay because she saw my post on Reddit. That wasn't me that posted on Reddit. I'm getting a lot of hate. You guys, seem to need receipts. Someone speaking up about their story isn't enough, so I'm going to share with you some, evidence that I was with him that night. I didn't have a camera set up in my bedroom, so I don't know what to tell you. You're just going to have to take my word for it, and if you don't, that's okay. This is the last time I'm ever going to talk about this. And I've made my TikTok private, so if anyone wants to share what I'm saying with the people on Reddit, feel free to do that, but I can't mentally handle this anymore. This was Andrew and I agreeing to hang out when he was in St. Pete. This was us the night at the bar. We went into the bathroom to take a photo because this bar, the bathroom has its own Instagram page, and it's just something people do at that bar. Also, like I said many times before, I trusted him, and people are blaming me for trusting him, and I did, and it is what it is. This is a comment from someone who I've been speaking with about what happened to her. This is a message I got about a year ago from someone who said that he has been known to associate with underage girls. This is the story from the same person of her experience. You can pause to read any of this stuff. This is about how he was canceled on his French Quarter confession show when he went to Loyola because of the same sorts of allegations. You can pause to read that. Just another story. He's got a list of women who he gets to give him head. Another instance of sexual assault. And I'm keeping these people private, and they've all consented to me sharing their stories. And I'm doing so because I've already put my face out there. I'm already getting all the hate. It is what it is at this point. There's another story. More people saying that they've heard about this before. Another story. My inbox is flooded with people saying that they are proud of me for speaking up because they're too scared to, so I'm sharing their stories for them. This is absolutely taking a huge toll on my mental health. I can see that a lot of you don't want to believe women when they come forward about things, and I've just got to say that says a lot about your personality and who you are. This is the hardest thing I've ever had to do, and if you think I'm making it up, that's on you.
Shortly after Caroline's TikTok post, another user on TikTok by the name Moldy Freckle came forward and stated that she had intercourse with Andrew, but he acted weird and really strange, and eventually he assaulted her.
I had hooked up with Andrew previously. He creeped me out, made me feel weird, was mean, demanding. He hit me up again after this time to hang out with me again, and I said, no, I don't want to hang out with you anymore. I don't want to sleep with you ever again. Asked me why. I told him why. He invited me to go out to dinner so he could apologize. So I went to this dinner because honestly, I don't care about an apology because I wouldn't believe it anyways. But I was like, free food, whatever, you know? Turns out he invites me to a really shitty diner. Like, I've never been to a diner this shitty. This is besides the point, but I'm just saying, like, what the fuck? It's not that hard to fuck up breakfast food. Anyways, so I go to the dinner. He's not really talking to me. And then I'm like, so did you have something you wanted to say? And he's like, oh yeah, do you want to have sex in your car after this? And I was like, no, I don't. Is there anything else you want to say? And he was like, oh, yeah, sorry if I made you feel uncomfortable. Are you joking? You really don't want to have sex in your car after this? And he asked that like probably 5 more times. Like, you're joking, right? Like, you want to have sex in your car after this, right? And I was like, no.
After these two victims came forward, an Instagram story dating back to 2020 was reposted to social media alleging that Andrew had tried to coerce her extremely intoxicated friend into sex. Since then, we've seen a slew of accusations from various different victims across various different platforms, some even alleging Andrew sexually assaulted underage girls. Before I go any further, I just want to make the point that the victims and the trauma that they have endured are the most important aspect of this story. Like I said in the beginning of the video, Andrew has been associated and even recently worked with some very big names, one of them being Hasan B.
Returning guest, one of the most sought after guests of all time.
Up, chat.
Andrew Callahan in the building. We are going to be talking about a lot of stuff today, but specifically, he just has a new documentary that just came out on HBO.
Andrew has been on Hasan's regular broadcast multiple times, as well as his and Will Neff's podcast. Let's look at what Hasan had to say.
So a lot of people have been saying, cover the Andrew Callahan allegations, I found out about them like briefly yesterday, and from what I understand, there was one person who came out. And originally made statements about Andrew, stating that I think he like pressured her to he pressured her to have sex with him. The first ever allegation was one of the people that actually came out. I believe it was Moldy Freckle, who said Andrew sexually assaulted me as well. I'd previously been involved with him, but only when I was extremely drunk. This one was the only one out of like all of the random things that were compiled that made it that seemed very severe. Okay. I'm from Seattle. Know many people common with him. You are not the first person. I've heard about the story happening too. Went to a neighboring high school as him. Same thing. He was in high school. Not the first time I'm hearing something about like this. Okay, so some of this stuff is just like, it's a complete hearsay, right? But this one was the solid one. This one was previously dating, I believe, Andrew. And this video in and of itself is like a very serious one. There were two videos from her. The first was allegations. The second contained text messages and other anonymous allegations that responded to her post with. Yeah. Obviously, don't dismiss any victims. Don't dismiss anyone coming out with their stories. Okay? I always say, false allegations are rare, super rare, and it is infinitely more likely that someone that comes out with allegations, that is unnoticed, that goes unnoticed or vilified, than not. So this is the person that first came out. This video came out, from what I understand, she was upset. Here, I'll watch this. So both Andrew and her, from what I understand, were extremely drunk when this happened. And that's why it's like this one originally, I don't know any of I don't know the exact details of what happened here.
And
this is like one of the first times that I'm hearing about it, other than the fact that I only looked at Reddit pretty much. Like I didn't even see this video itself. And that's still not consent ultimately. It's still coercive in nature if there's like pressure involved. Loki thinks it's a right-wing ploy because he's exposing the fuck. No. I don't think there is. I don't think this is a right-wing ploy. It's infinitely more common. I think it's infinitely more common for something like this to happen than have people like build a conspiracy theory. Come on, guys. It is very common. Even during the Me Too shit, like we talked about this, of course it's incredibly common. It is, and I say this all the time, whether it's someone I know, someone I don't know, this is a consistent thing that I mention all the time. This happens as a consequence of, one, the ways that everyone is taught on how gender dynamics are supposed to work, even though it is literally wrong, okay? It's a product of the patriarchy. It is social conditioning. And then also on top of that, you pile on the gray nature of interpersonal communication and dynamics, especially in a situation like in a non-platonic romantic situation. All of a sudden, it's basically a fucking powder keg. So whenever I see stuff like this, like I try to be as understanding as possible. But this is not uncommon. I think that what Andrew was doing, I didn't see this one, but I did see the other one, was pestering. Like it seems like in this circumstance is a person that he was involved with originally. Like they dated, I believe. And the long and short of it basically is that she was offering him a ride, and he was like trying to hook up with her, trying to kiss her in the neck, trying to hook up with her. And even like went so far as to like pull her hand down his pants. And I mean, here, I'll let her explain it. There's no gray area here, man. No, I know. There isn't. There is not. I'm saying that in normal circumstances, something that otherwise, depending on who the two individuals are, would be a consensual touch can immediately be unconsensual. This is one of those circumstances where it clearly is not. It is clear cut. Okay? The point is across the board. And this is something, like I said, time and time again, something that I've talked about when describing the nature of consent. When describing the nature of consent and you know, these sorts of dynamics a million times over, I have mentioned this. Andrew, as far as I understand, has not said anything about this. And I await for any kind of statement that comes from him. But ultimately, I mean, this seems pretty bad. It's like, it looks like an obvious instance.
Could at least suck my dick. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. Get out of my car. At that point, it was, I'm not taking you home anymore. Get the fuck out of my car. And he just got mad, really. He was mad that I would even say that. But at the same time,
No, I think that there is a case to be made for this being like, this one especially being assault. And at the very least harassment for sure. It is, I mean, the biggest bummer here is not that like I'm friends with Andrew or I know Andrew and that, you know, this, that like someone that you like, has done things. No, the biggest bummer here is the fact that like these people have been traumatized by these actions. Okay. Like that is the, you know, keep your eyes on the prize, I guess, and be a little bit more understanding. I think a lot of people like this usually speak up because they fear that when someone comes out, they usually fear that like this is repeat behavior. And that's the reason why they come out and speak out on things like this. Okay. So they want to prevent this from happening again. It's not like, I know that the immediate alternative is like, oh, this is a person who was scorned and that's why they're fucking coming out. And even if like one person, even if the original accusation is like that, the other people that are coming out in that situation are offering repeat. In some instances that could lead to a coerced consent, a coerced instance of consent. And even if I were to put myself, I mean, this is a weird thing to say, but even if you were to put yourself in the shoes of the perpetrator, okay? And a lot of people are going to say, oh, what the fuck? Like, don't do that. He himself, after a sequence of repetitive actions, and this goes for a lot of people, okay? This goes for a lot of dudes. When you engage in this action and it is otherwise rewarded or there's no sort of pushback, you assume that this is the norm, okay? This isn't to take away the responsibility from Andrew in this circumstance. It's not. It certainly isn't. But it is for a lot of people to hopefully understand why these things keep happening all the time, especially because I think that like the systemic aspect of this conversation always gets lost in the sauce in the way that we look at everything. That's why people say like men are trash. Okay. That's where this comes from, because a lot of guys oftentimes in this circumstance don't understand what they're doing is like completely inappropriate, or there might be a point where they understood that what they were doing was completely inappropriate and have lost touch with that side, because this is so heavily normalized and reinforced in society. What you also always need to take into consideration is that this is not just happening on Twitch, or this is not just happening in this circle. It's happening it's happening in every circle, in every facet of existence. And I think that the way to solve it is by, again, having empathy across the board, and of course having an honest conversation about these sorts of things, which unfortunately rarely ever happens, because ultimately the people that speak out against these sorts of instances are traumatized individuals who, of course, are going to be on the edge, be defensive. It's understandable. It's a survival mechanism. It's the same as like when I talk about transphobia. Yes, I completely understand why trans people would be more defensive when having a conversation like this that would otherwise even come across as like to the untrained person who's just like hearing from the outside, like, oh, why are you being so hysterical? Well, yeah, it's because they feel as though their lives are on the line. And in many instances, that's a legitimate reason. Same with this as well. Okay. Same with this circumstance as well. I'll wait for what Andrew's side of it is, but it does seem like this is pretty commonplace behavior. As far as like the things I saw, it's usually like known people. These are people that he knew, people that he might have even had a consensual relationship with at some point. And yeah, that's it. I don't know what else to say.
Another big name Andrew was associated with, Tim Heidecker of the Tim and Eric Awesome Show, worked closely with Andrew on his recent documentary, This Place Rules. This is what Tim had to say.
Good morning, everybody. It is, January 12th. It's 10 a.m. The weather is crisp and cool. Listen, I wanted to start the show today to just acknowledge these Andrew Callaghan allegations. I've asked Doug and Vic to step out because I didn't want them sitting behind me, not knowing what to do, not knowing where to look. But I also want to apologize for not speaking about this, for any of us speaking about this. I think, it's been a very painful week for us and very difficult experience to process it. And we didn't want to just rush out and say something that felt insincere or, kind of like crisis person told us what to say kind of thing. That I don't think that's helpful. And we just want to wrap our heads around it and talk about it and try to understand it more. But of course, we're aware of the allegations. We take them very seriously. And it's just been very sad and just, disappointing, to say the least. I just want to clarify a couple things. We, have no professional relationship with Andrew at this time and have no plans going forward to have any relationship with him. Our role with him is we produced the film that a lot of you guys have seen. There's been a little confusion about the Channel 5 name. That's Andrew's name, Channel 5. It has nothing to do with Eric and I's Channel 5 name. That was a bit of confusion for us as well. But we did produce the movie, and I feel terrible that this film now has these allegations tied to it because some very good people worked very hard on it. But it's just a movie, and I want to say that we believe these women that came forward and of course totally condemn the type of behavior that Andrew's being accused of. And I believe that's up to Andrew to address these allegations and do so openly and honestly. And I really hope he does, do that as soon as possible. And that's really all I have to say about it right now. We're not going to talk about it during the show. That's why we didn't start with the opening. That's why Vic and Doug aren't here. I'm going to try to, as Vic says, put these negative thoughts and acknowledge them and try to have fun and know that this is something that Andrew has to address. I just also finally want to say, I have a daughter, and as I read about this stuff and learn about this stuff, it's the last thing in the world that I'd want to have happen is what's been talked about in this with these allegations. And I have a son, and I want to make sure that as we raise him, my wife and I raise him, that we raise him to understand and respect women and grow up to be a good and honorable person. And finally, I just wish, peace and love for everybody involved. It's a terrible situation, but it's happening, in real time, and we're trying to process it like everybody else is. So that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for listening and understanding where we're at. I know I'm a bit emotional about it because it's just been very difficult.
One big creator that has constantly shared praise for Andrew and has also been involved with him is Ethan Klein. Andrew had recently been on Ethan and Hasan's podcast, and after many of the allegations had come out, Ethan shared an update he received directly from Andrew while fans and audiences waited for an official response.
I believe both girls. So, but when the second girl came out, I was like, okay, I need to talk to Andrew about this. I mean, listen, he is my friend. We do have a relationship. I'm not just going to go to the internet and start talking about all this without even reaching out to him. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, I needed to hear from him what happened. I talked to him and he was, look, he's in a really bad mental headspace. Obviously, he was like soaring on top of the world and now he's like canceled. But I wanted the details. I said, yo, what's up with these allegations? You got to tell me what's going on. I talked on the phone with him. The first girl, he told me, I'm just going to tell you what he said. By the way, I was hoping to wait to talk about this till he put out a statement. He told me that he was going to put out a statement today at 12. I think he's working on a statement. I guess it's going to come out today. I can find out. Maybe I'll text him and find out when. So I'm sure he wants people to read his statement. So if I could read it on stream, that'd be good. So first, I just wanted to make sure that he told me he was like at a psych ward. He was not doing well and he was having panic attacks and stuff. And I, first of all, wanted to make sure that he was safe, that he wasn't going to hurt himself, that he was with people that cared about him. Obviously, I don't want him to die. And so I did confirm that he's doing okay. So that was a relief to me. Again, I'm not defending him, and I believe those victims 100% since they came out with their videos. So what was I saying? So, well, what I was going to say before y'all jumping to conclusions is that he confirmed what they're saying is true. Okay. Y'all fucking, you know what I mean? He confirmed that he knew the girls and that he had encounters with them. So right out the bat, you know what I mean? He was pretty open, and basically that's what I wanted to hear, right? Like he confirmed that this stuff basically happened. I know it's not about him being the victim, but I don't want him to die. Okay. Like I have a obligation as a human being to another human being to make sure that he's not like suicidal, and I'm just gonna not check on him. Like, but anyway, it's not about him, right? All right, let me get my fucking thoughts together on this. So, I mean, my main takeaway is that he confirmed he knew the girls, right? And basically that's all I'll say. I mean, I talked to him a lot. I wanted to hear from him what happened. And that's all I'll say is that he confirmed he knew them. So like that's not defending him at all. I mean, if anything, it's corroborating what they said. So I basically am just waiting. I really just waiting for a statement to kind of, there's not even really a conclusion. I mean, it sucks. You know what the fuck? I mean, what the fuck can I say? It sucks. It's very upsetting. It's weird because like I'm both a fan of him and a friend of him. So it's just, it really sucks. What can I say? I mean, y'all fucking in the same boat as me.
On January 12th, Andrew's legal team released a statement to TMZ which many thought was tone deaf and an attempt to try and spin the negative PR on the victim. The statement read, Andrew is devastated that he is being accused of any type of physical or mental coercion against anyone. Conversations about pressure and consent are extremely important, and Andrew wants to have these conversations so he can continue to learn and grow. While every dynamic is open to interpretation and proper communication is critical from all those involved, Repeated requests for money should not be a part of these conversations. Although not an official response from Andrew himself, the community did not take this response lightly.
Because the message here doesn't say, I'm going to come forward with this if you don't. Yeah, no, sorry. No, it's not. Yeah. She didn't word it in a way that's, yeah. The way it was phrased from the TMZ thing, or the way the lawyer made it sound, I guess. Blackmail was insinuated in the article. They conveniently left out she was asking for her therapy bills. His hole's just getting deeper and deeper. Yeah. I mean, this does come across... I do think it's like a weird message to send, kind of, and it does make the TikTok that came out later feel, I don't know, like a little more option B, and that she wouldn't have done it if she'd gotten option A, you know? I do think you should come forward with stuff like this and not be like bought off from it. But it's not extortion or blackmail, because that isn't even mentioned. Andrew's legal rep tells us he vows to be better with balanced communication and improve himself, and wants to remind his audience that while even one concerned partner is too many, there are always multiple sides to a story. Okay, this to me cements the guilt, to be honest. Andrew's lawyer can't even mount a rebuttal to the primary accusation, but nothing is said of the like dozen people who were like, yeah, you know, I was there at that party in 2020. He was super creepy. She kicked her out of the car like that. Yeah. Going immediately to a lawyer. Yeah, no. So let me see. Where's the lawyer's statement directly? Oh, nothing. These are just screenshots of the TMZ article. That's really it. Man. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Like, from Andrew's, like, in terms of Andrew's thing.
And while there were many that came to Andrew's defense, the majority of the online community and victims in this story found this response to be awful. On January 15th, 2023, Andrew Callahan released an official statement in response to the allegations. The video was posted to his Instagram and to a personal YouTube channel that he created for the sole purpose of posting this response.
All right, I never thought I'd make a video like this, but I think there's an important conversation to be had, and I just want to be fully accountable, honest, and transparent with all of you guys. So I'd like to start by thanking every single person who's came out in the past week to speak about different ways in which my behavior has made them feel uncomfortable or pressured during a sexual situation, and to people who said that I've made unwanted advances and had a hard time with rejection. I'm sure this was not easy to do. It's never easy to speak out, and it was hard for me to hear as well, because to be honest with you, up until this point, I didn't even really realize that I had this pattern that had affected multiple people. I'd also like to apologize for my silence. I think that when this stuff first came out, I was in a state of denial and shock. I was, just riding the high from my movie that just came out, and then within 48 hours, I was denounced by my closest collaborators, and my name was printed in 40 different news outlets next to the words sexual misconduct, and I just kind of spiraled into a mental health crisis. I'm okay now, but I don't really think this is about me. This is about the people that I've affected. So I just want to express my complete sympathy, respect, and support for anyone who I've done wrong by. And I really want to do better and be fully accountable for everything that I've done. So that being said, I want to make a few things clear. I've always taken no for an answer. As far as consent, I've never overstepped that line. But I think I want to have a more nuanced and important conversation about power dynamics, pressure, and coercion. Because, like I said, I think for a long time, I was behaving in a way that I actually thought was normal. I thought that, going home from the bar alone made you a loser. I thought that persistence was a form of flattery. And I thought that, if at first somebody was reluctant, they're playing hard to get, just try harder. And if you think someone's feeling you, make a physical advance and see if they go with it. And I think that, especially I realized when so many young people, especially young men, rushed to defend me when this stuff first started coming out, that this type of sex pest behavior is normalized. And a lot of people think this stuff is normal when I don't think that it is. And I think that I want to be fully responsible for not having a fluid understanding of consent and what enthusiastic two-way consent looks like. That being said, a lot of the things that have been said online about me are not true. A lot of things are missing really important contextual information that I think would change people's interpretation of a lot of these situations, but I'm not here to invalidate anybody's lived experience. If you feel pressured, that's just what it is. I hope that young people, and young men in particular, can use my mistakes to learn and move through life with a better understanding of consent. As far as what I have planned, I'm not really sure what comes next. I mean, obviously, reporting is my one true love, and I'm 25 years old, and I have my whole life ahead of me. But I really think that I need to do some serious work on myself and figure myself out. So I'm going to start therapy sessions pretty much immediately. Also, not to blame alcohol, but I truly believe that alcohol was a contributing factor to my poor decision making. And I think that alcohol in general has had a devastating impact on my life. So I think I'm going to make the decision to join the 12-step program for Alcoholics Anonymous. And during this journey into sobriety, I want to take a serious step back from public life and, like I said, figure myself out. And I hope that this reaches the ears of anyone who's felt affected by me. I'd love to reach out to you, or you can reach out to me, even just for me to say, I'm sorry, and I really apologize, and I appreciate you all. I also want to apologize to my closest collaborators, my friends, my family, and people who will have to wear this stain on their career forever. You guys don't deserve this, and I love you guys. That being said, if you never want to watch Channel 5 again, I understand. I hope you remember the missions of radical empathy and media literacy that we have tried to put into the world through our coverage. All right, that's all I want to say.
As far as we have seen from members of the community, the reaction to this response has been mixed. However, the victim's response is what matters more than anything else. So far, Dana is the only one who has responded to Andrew's official statement, and I'm going to play the entire response now, unedited.
Okay, so I just felt like I needed to respond to this apology video because, I feel like I kind of have a say in the matter. I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, oh my god, she made a YouTube channel. She's looking for clout, because I got lots of comments, lots of messages about me just wanting clout. If I wanted clout, I guarantee this is not the kind that I would ever want to get, but, if they can do it, if they can make videos and comment on it, all the content creators and Twitch streamers and whatnot, then I can too. Look, I even have a microphone. So, hello. I actually had this beforehand because I thought I was going to make a podcast, which I never actually made, but I guess it's coming in handy right now. So, also, I'm not promoting a podcast. If I make one, you'll never know that it is me. So yeah, I just wanted to respond to Andrew's fake apology. I didn't think it was genuine at all. I don't believe any of it, really, but to comment on it, I kind of wrote down quotes that he made from the video because, I don't want to fuck anything up. These are things he said that really, just got to me, which I feel like I want to comment on individually. So here we go. So he says, I'd like to start by thanking every single person that's come out. You're welcome. Just wanted to say you're welcome. Next is, up until this point, I didn't really realize that I had this pattern that had affected multiple people. Okay, I don't know how you didn't realize that, since there's been multiple people who have called you out on your behavior, but okay. I really want to be fully accountable for everything I've done. Okay. I'm willing to listen to what you have to say next. And the next thing, I've always taken no as an answer. As far as consent, I've never overstepped that line. Well, that's just a lie. So, okay, good one. for a long time I was behaving in a way that I actually thought was normal. Okay, well, I honestly don't know what you think is normal about someone begging and pleading for you to stop and to get off of them, but alrighty. Maybe you can, unpack that in the future. I'm sorry guys for my smiling, my laughing, whatnot. I use humor to deflect how I feel. I'm nervous as hell right now. I don't know who's gonna see people from my work, my family, people have already seen all of this stuff unfold, and it's really embarrassing already, so I already put my face out there. I just don't really care at this point. Okay, moving on to the next wild quote. A lot of things that have been said online about me are not true. A lot of things are missing really important contextual information that I think would change people's interpretations of a lot of situations. But I'm not here to invalidate anyone's lived experience. It sounds like you just did. What exactly was not true? Just wondering. And how exactly does it make it better if a few things weren't true in the grand scheme of things with all these accusations? Does it really matter? It's really clear that you're a serial predator. Also, he said, I truly believe alcohol was a contributing factor to my poor decision making. Okay, true. I feel like a lot of people could say that. But, I've been with people, I've dated people, or even just, hookups with people where either we were both drinking or not drinking, and I could tell them no, or that I didn't want to, or I wasn't feeling it, and they wouldn't, and they would stop, even though they were drunk. So I don't really think that's a good excuse, even though you said, not to blame alcohol. You kind of did later. And that's really it, other than the radical empathy thing at the end, which is just blows my mind, that, he would even promote empathy when he doesn't have any. I will not be reaching out to you for an apology because I already tried that, and this is where we are now. And please don't reach out to me either. No, please don't. Anyways, this kind of thing happens all the time. This happens to women all the time. This kind of behavior, so many people I personally know have experienced it. Every woman that I know in my life has been either raped, sexually assaulted, harassed, abused in some type of way. So this type of thing is really normal for women to experience, and that's kind of a reason why honestly, I told people about this when it first happened. I told my close friends. I told anyone who shared his content at the time, which was Quarter Confessions. But for people to be like, oh, why would you just now say this now that he's popular? Well, first of all, I'm not just now saying it, but most people probably don't understand how painful it is to see someone that hurt them or put them, through something traumatizing or something that made them fearful. They don't really like to see them put on a pedestal and be looked up to as some type of idol. That is what has made this time even harder than any other time that I have been assaulted, molested, or abused at some point. It's something that is way too common, and it's embarrassing and shameful to talk about for some reason. Because that's just how society has made us feel about it. And I hate to be, you know, the person that says society, you know, whatever, but I honestly, you know, if anything good has come out of this, I just want women and young girls and men too, and boys, men, women, whoever, anybody, you know, all inclusive, to know that you don't have to put up with this. It's not normal, and even though you feel like you're used to it and it's just so common, we don't have to put up with this type of behavior. And honestly, it's not excusable to me. Of course, I believe that people can be rehabilitated. I don't think, you know, anyone can't change, no matter how bad of a person they are. But this was not an apology to me, and I don't accept it. Not forgiven. Yeah, this behavior, it's not normal. I mean, I guess it is normal. It's widespread. It shouldn't be, though. I just want people to understand that and to know that and take that into consideration. That, I don't know, I'm fed up, and I know other people are getting fed up. So don't expect to, you know, continue to rise to the top when you do this type of, you know, when you're like this to other people. It's called karma. It's not blackmail. It's not revenge. It's just how it goes. That's really all I have to say. It was really hard for me to say all of this, and I hope I got to the point. I know when I posted my original videos, people were like, "Can you get to the point? Hurry up." Even though I was trying to explain, like, you know, an assault that occurred. But if you took the time to listen to this, congratulations. And that's it.
In reality, there is no conclusion to this story. There is no happy ending for the victims affected by Andrew's actions, so now all we can do is wait and encourage any other victims that have been affected by this behavior to speak up.